I think everybody likes a fire. When I was a wee boy, back in the 1960s and 70s, I used to go in the old folks' houses in the village, and they nearly always had a range in the kitchen, and there would be a fire going and a couple of chairs near the fire, and it always seemed so cosy. And I always thought I'd like a range one day. I haven't got one yet. We had one in our farmhouse when I was a boy, and I remember it being taken out when I was about 5 years old. Well, some of those old folks used to talk about how much nicer the meat was when it was cooked in front of the fire. And I always was inspired by that romantic notion. Anyway, one day, one old chap told me about these bottle jacks, which are a vertical roasting machine. And I always wanted one. And eventually I got one. The idea is you dangle your meat off that hook there, and it spins it one way and then the other until the meat's cooked. And eventually I did get one, and occasionally we cook a joint of meat with it, and it really is nice. But the part that's nearly always missing is the cartwheel that goes underneath for cooking smaller pieces of meat. Now, the other day I went to the car boot sale, and there was this roasting jack, this fella here, complete with this mantelpiece bracket with an adjustable sliding hook, and more importantly the cartwheel. So I bought it, and here it is. The wheel itself is just heavy enough to make the jack work, because it needs some weight to release, to give a load to the device to make it spin. It's a real clever bit of Victorian simplicity, because you can hang 4 pieces of meat on it. You can turn the pieces of meat by turning these little hooks, and to balance the thing you can move the hooks along in the tracks. And this evening I'm going to cook some lamb chops with it. And here's my tea ready to go in front of the fire. And that's the way we turn the chops around. Just turn that little knob at the top. So as soon as that wood's burnt down to charcoal, I'll give them a dangle and look forward to eating them in 20 minutes or so. Now, I'm not trying to turn the clock back here, and I don't cook like this all the time, and I haven't got rid of the electric oven, but it is good fun to do it every once in a while, and the results are delicious. And let's face it, there's nothing to watch on the television, so this thing's quite easy on the eye. There we are, 20 minutes later, and I reckon they're done now. And there we are, done to a turn. Nice bit of broccoli from the garden, and just as a nod to the 21st century, some frozen chips. I didn't cook them in the oven though, I did them in the chip pan. Now, you've got to admit, they do look nicely cooked, don't they?